So, I've certainly recommended in the past Memology 101. The title of this one, What the Fuck is Going On in Canada? And, well, the individual makes a very good point. Think about this. Canadian Memorial United Church hosts a reading of an LGBT plus children's book that teaches it's okay for people to wear hardly anything at a Pride Parade. I mean, look, have you ever noticed, especially yet again, we're talking the last few decades, the amount of churches that have just gone up for sale because, look, you've got this thing called as above, so below. And I would certainly say there's an awful lot of data that would give one pause for thought about the very institutions in many regards. But at some stage, it actually really helped for many people going through whatever they were going through in life to meet on a regular basis. And, but we are in this situation now that the very churches, the few that believe whatever they believe, go to them, can no longer go with any confidence that it represents anything of what they used to relate to. And in other words, every fucking aspect of our lives has this virus thrown into the mix. Let's play on.
So this is a book called The Rainbow Parade, and it's written by Emily Nielsen. Now, Emily wrote this from her own experience of being a little kid and going to her very first Pride Parade with her mums. And it was
with her mums.
It's a really special day for her family, and it was one of her favorite traditions growing up. Today is the Rainbow Parade, which means that we get to ride on the train. The cars start out empty and grey, but slowly, stop by stop.
Empty and grey. Now, have you even noticed about cars in the last few decades? And it has been noticed by some. People that, by default, were far more expressive in what colours their cars were. In all honesty, there was a time. I mean, I know Ford's mentioned and, the car, one colour, blah, blah, blah. The Model T, etc., etc. But honestly, if you look at like the 60s and the 70s and even the 80s, it was quite the spectrum as regards colours. But more by, the decade, it's like 3 or 4 and they're mostly grey or monotone or, soulless. And the people that buy it go, well, I'm already thinking about who I sell it to, and is its value, if it's, let's not stand out, yeah. But when it comes to this,
whole train fills up with rainbows. Do you see those fairies? Mama says. I think they're going to be in the parade. The rainbow fairy winks at me. My eyes grow wide. Whoa, I whisper. The sidewalk outside is filled with people waiting for the parade to start.
I listen to this and I think it's obligation. She's still a bit nervous, but it's part of her occultist shenanigans.
The sidewalk outside.
You can hear it. You can see it.
The sidewalk outside is filled with people waiting for the parade to start. Everyone is wearing whatever makes them feel most like themselves. Even if that means wearing hardly anything at all.
And then you add to that, for example, the Burkes in Ireland. And believe me, if I look at this, and from one and I haven't looked in great detail, but one of them, teacher, was not going with a transgender, blah, blah, blah. This guy has had his liberty taken, been in jail for God knows how long. They're literally taking his wages out the bank and all the rest of it. And this fine individual has been right all along. Apparently, recently had some legal recognition about it, but still nightmarish. But this one, shocking scenes, church leader unmasked as trans ideology enforcer. And if there was a time, and with some places, there's probably a good chance of that. But now, I would not be looking at the churches. I mean, don't get me wrong, I looked even in Europe in, the 60s and 70s. All of a sudden there was a bunch of Satanists, young guys involved in some music, Scandinavia, whatever the fuck it was, and they were burning churches. I still think it's all part of the bigger picture. But I'll repeat, you certainly can't look to your churches now, and that's all part of the design, yeah? Until people start looking at, we have an occult society within our society that's infecting everything like a fucking virus, you're not going to see what's going on. Anyway, your thoughts, maybe a share or two, a subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.